Did Marilyn Monroe really die the way the world believes she did? Or is there a deeper, darker truth that Hollywood has been trying to keep hidden for decades? Imagine the most iconic star of all time, beautiful, beloved, and enigmatic, secretly entangled in a web of lies, manipulation, and sinister cover-ups. Her tragic end, celebrated by the media as a simple overdose, may be far more complex than we've been led to believe. Hollywood has long profited from Monroe's image, but what if the truth behind her life and death is far darker than the glamorous story the world has been fed? Stick with me as we uncover the shocking details Hollywood doesn't want you to know about Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is known as one of the most glamorous and iconic figures in Hollywood history. But behind her sparkling smile and dazzling screen presence lies a story that has remained largely hidden from the public eye. For decades, the world has been fed a narrative of Monroe as a tragic figure, a beautiful actress who struggled with her personal demons before dying under mysterious circumstances. However, the truth may be far more unsettling than we've been led to believe. What if Marilyn's struggles weren't just the result of mental health issues or substance abuse, but the consequence of a ruthless industry that used her, manipulated her, and even silenced her when she became too much of a threat? In this video, we'll take you on a journey through the real story behind Marilyn Monroe, one that Hollywood would prefer to stay buried. From secret affairs to hidden conspiracies, what was really happening behind the glitz and glamour? Prepare to uncover the shocking truths Hollywood doesn't want you to know about Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, born Norma Jean Mortensen, rose from humble beginnings to become the epitome of stardom. Her childhood was anything but glamorous, spent in and out of foster homes and orphanages. But at just 20 years old, her life changed forever when she was discovered by a photographer and soon signed to a film contract. With her platinum blonde hair, sultry smile, and magnetic presence, Monroe quickly became a household name. The world watched in awe as she graced the silver screen in iconic films like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, forever etching her image into the cultural consciousness. But beneath the surface of her dazzling persona, Monroe's life was far from perfect. While the world adored her, Hollywood saw her as a commodity to be exploited. Her troubled relationships with men, including rumored affairs with powerful figures like John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, only added fuel to the fire of her growing notoriety. Her public image was carefully crafted, but behind closed doors, she was struggling with mental health issues, loneliness, and an overwhelming sense of being trapped in an industry that valued her beauty more than her humanity. As her career skyrocketed, Monroe's personal life began to unravel. Hollywood's bright lights, which once promised fame and fortune, cast long, dark shadows. And as her fame grew, so did the forces working behind the scenes to control her, using her as both a star and a pawn in a dangerous game of power. The real Marilyn Monroe, the woman behind the bombshell, was quickly slipping away. As Marilyn Monroe's career reached its peak, she found herself surrounded by the glitz of Hollywood, but also by an unsettling sense of isolation. While her image was being polished to perfection by the studio, the woman behind the facade was becoming more and more disillusioned with the industry that had made her famous. What the public didn't know was that Monroe's personal struggles went far deeper than the typical celebrity woes. She was at the mercy of a system that cared more about profits than her well-being, and she was increasingly desperate to escape its grasp. One of the most shocking revelations about Monroe's life is her relationship with powerful men, including the Kennedy brothers. Rumors swirled around her alleged affairs with both John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, with whispers of political cover-ups and secret meetings. But what many don't know is how these relationships may have entangled her in a web of espionage and dangerous power plays. Monroe was said to have been emotionally torn, both in love and in fear of the dangerous people she had become involved with. As her mental health deteriorated, Monroe became more vocal about wanting to break free from the studio system that controlled her every move. She was reportedly seeking a new direction in her career, one that would allow her to be seen as a serious actress, not just a sex symbol. But just as she was planning her escape, something went horribly wrong. In the days leading up to her death, Marilyn had become more isolated than ever, and her behavior was erratic. Was she being manipulated by forces much larger than herself? Could her death have been orchestrated by those who feared what she might reveal about the corrupt underbelly of Hollywood and politics? The mystery deepened after her untimely death in 1962. Officially, it was ruled as a probable suicide due to an overdose, but there were many who believed that the truth was far more sinister. With her connections to powerful political figures and her growing disillusionment with Hollywood, was Monroe's silence to protect a much larger secret? As the investigation into Marilyn Monroe's death unfolded, the official narrative, the one the public had been fed for years, began to unravel. The coroner's report stated that Monroe had died from a barbiturate overdose, but there were too many inconsistencies to ignore. No suicide note, no clear explanation of how the pills had been administered, and no history of previous suicide attempts. Even more troubling were the witnesses who reported seeing strange activity around her home just hours before her death. Marilyn had not been alone the night she died. People close to her, including her housekeeper and close friends, reported that Monroe had been in good spirits, planning for the future, and showing no signs of suicidal intent. The most shocking part, however, came from the rumors surrounding the involvement of the Kennedy family. Monroe was allegedly seen by multiple sources entering the home of Robert Kennedy just days before her death. Some reports even suggested that she had been deeply involved in a secret affair with him, one that she feared would expose the vulnerabilities of powerful political figures. Could her death have been a result of this? Were those in power determined to silence her before she could speak out about the dark secrets she knew about the Kennedys and their covert dealings? As more pieces of the puzzle were revealed, it became clear that Monroe's death may not have been a simple overdose. Instead, it might have been orchestrated by powerful people who feared what she knew and what she might have been about to expose. The contradictions, the timing, the political ties, everything pointed to one conclusion. Monroe's death wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up, carefully crafted to protect those who were at the heart of Hollywood and political power. The true mystery remains. Was Marilyn Monroe murdered to keep her quiet? Or was she another casualty of a corrupt system that chewed up and spit out its stars when they became too difficult to control? Marilyn Monroe's death remains one of the most haunting mysteries in Hollywood history. While the official story tells us it was a tragic overdose, the unanswered questions continue to echo through time. Was her death a result of the pressures she faced in an industry that consumed her? Or was it a deliberate act to silence her once and for all? With her rumored connections to the Kennedy family, her disillusionment with Hollywood, and the suspicious circumstances surrounding her passing, it's clear that Monroe's life and death was far more complicated than the world ever let on. Hollywood may have tried to bury the truth, but the facts remain. Monroe wasn't just a symbol of glamour. She was a woman who saw too much, knew too much, and perhaps paid the ultimate price for it. As we reflect on her life, one question still lingers. What might Marilyn have exposed if she had lived longer? What stories were hidden behind those sparkling blue eyes, and who benefited from keeping them sealed forever? The mystery of Marilyn Monroe continues to captivate and haunt, reminding us that not all truths are meant to be told.